Hey guys, it's filler time. So, this thing has had 8 days outside in the winter cold to just trying to air out, get the fumes out of here. And when I brought it in, this place still just reeks. I mean, I don't know how toxic the fumes are, but I mean, it's not a pleasant. It's really not a pleasant smell. So, if you guys are going to take this on, this is the clear preservative, like I showed in the canvassing video. If you have a chance to get a already preserved or treated canvas, go for that. At least you could eliminate this step. I mean, it's not the end of the world. If I at least done this in spring, or if you're in a warmer climate, I'd be doing this either completely outside or at least have the windows and the garage door open. So because it's minus 30 outside, there's no. So I'll see about using my mask. I don't know how much fumes this filler is going to do either, but anyway. So what we're using. This is the product that I got from Dick Pearson at Buckhorn Canoes. So very generic name, canoe filler. So really have no idea. I know it's oil based. It's an oil-based filler. I think it's very, very traditional. So, steps. Like I said, depending on the fumes and everything, I might wear my mask for the whole process. So I'll go through the steps now, and then because obviously I can't really talk to you guys with the mask on. So, all right. So this is a pretty not necessarily stressful, but it's nothing like I've never really done anything. I mean, I guess the closest thing to this would be doing gyprock. So anyway, the steps. I need to get a small bristle brush, which this one's kind of already small bristles, so I might trim it anyway. So I just got a cheap brush that you can just trim about an inch and a half long, just so that the bristles are stiffer. Because the first step is to brush it on, really rub it into the canvas. Then you take a canvas mitt, which is basically just canvas that we cut away from the canvases step, and then with my very talented hand stitching, went through and just stitched a simple mitt. So nothing fancy, as long as it stays together. And the mitt, once you brush it on, the way that Dick had explained it to me is I start with a 3 feet square section of the canvas. I brush it on, and then I massage it with the mitt. So I massage it in, try to get really into the pores, and then I brush it on to the next 3 feet. Oh, eating. Sorry. So I brush it on to the next 3 feet, and then I massage that in. So by the time I do the second section, the first section is going to start to kind of, again, I'll see it when I do it, but he explained it should be hardening a bit. So once that section starts getting hard, then the way that he does it, and there's many different techniques in doing this, and I like, hopefully his works well. I bought this, it's actually quite cheap. This Ryobi quarter sheet sander. So I've never had one of these little electric sander. I have my orbital sander, and that's all I've ever needed. The orbital sander is quite expensive, since it's like about $100. It's a DeWalt. This thing was 20 bucks, so it's not too bad, and I could always use an extra sander in my wood shop. So I was okay making that purchase, since it's not just some useless canoe specific item. So the reason we're going to need a sander, I'm not sanding this soft putty. I'm actually going to put a piece of leather onto this. So we strap on a piece of leather instead of the sanding paper, and the leather is going to really massage the putty in. Alright, so I'll figure out how to put that on. Looks pretty simple. Wrap a piece of leather from this side over that side, and I'll just strap it in. So I got some scrap leather there. So I use this to really massage, and at that step with the sander, it should really smooth it out and pack it really tight and start to have a really kind of a glossy finish. That's the way he explained it to me. Again, I'll see it when I get there. So hopefully everything goes well. So that's basically it. One section, brush, massage, sand, move on to the next section. So I might have to do this multiple times, so at least like two coats. We'll see how this particular product spreads on. Dick does this for a living. He said I'd have enough, I have plenty with this 1 gallon. Hopefully he's right. The other thing I wanted to cover is the ends. So we kind of left these. The way they were last time. I wanted to go check out. I was on a couple of Canoe forums, and I asked them how I was supposed to clean this up. So the fact that there's these, you see this there. So like they're all kind of rivulets here. That it's kind of up in the air. So I was supposed to put some compound between this leather layer and the top layer. I did put it on the bottom, but I was supposed to put it between these two. So at this step it's too late because I can't pull it anymore. So one guy did suggest more staples. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put more staples everywhere it's coming up. I'll trim it a bit closer, and I'll clean it up as much as I can. So that's basically what I'll do there. And the compound, the filler, basically is going to it'll massage into that. So I can't sand on this side, so we'll see how that works, out afterwards. So I think it's just multiple layers of filler on the ends, and it'll kind of soak in, and then we can kind of clean it up at the sanding part. So Alright, so the only other thing that I could have done differently that I saw on the forums was I trimmed these, oh, you can't see that right now, sorry, there. So I trimmed the canvas pretty much right against this side here. I could have left a couple of inches, and then when it was flipped over, I would have protected the inside from the putty and the paint and everything. So I'm going to just, cover that mistake up by putting some painter's tape, and we should be fine. Alright, so she's protected. So let's flip her over and let's get this started. She's already considerably heavier with the canvas on. I'll be very curious to see how heavy it is with the with the filler. All right, I think I have most of my stuff set up here. Cut out a piece of leather. I have it on the shiny side. It's one of the questions that I forgot to ask, but it just makes more sense to me if I'm gonna try to get a glossy finish on the filler. I should have the glossy end, not the furry end on that side. So took a little time to jimmy that in there like a piece of paper, but I think I got it. Hopefully it won't come out when I start sanding. I also cut the brush, like I said, a little bit stiffer, and I was taking the time to read the back here. See? Warning, flammable, harmful if inhaled, causes irritation, vapors may cause flash fire. Keep away from, blah blah blah. Notice, reports have associated repeated and prolonged occupational overexposure to solvents with permanent brain and nervous system damage. Yeah, I think we'll wear a mask. So, Does not say though if I'm supposed to mix this, but typically with oil, you're supposed to mix it. It's my workout of the day. Okay. Okay. So I'll get my mask and let's get started.
We'll also get some gloves. Here we go. This is it. Now I have to change brush. Okay, so correction. Do not use a cheap brush. The bristles come off. So I put some all over the mat, the mitten, so that I don't absorb it, right? So I'm going to massage this in. A second. Hopefully you guys can understand me with my mask on, but I don't know if this will come out properly in the definition. I don't think so. But I'll film it just in case. The if you look here, I don't know if like I said, I don't know if it's coming out, but here you see the let's try it this way. Here you see the small texture of the canvas, and if I go over here, this is where I went over it with the leather,
and it completely or like almost disappears. And that's what the leather does. It makes it like a fine gloss sheen, so it gets rid of this texture. So that answers that question, what that does. So I guess I'll see on the footage later on whether or not you guys can see this. Whew. All right. So, first coat done. Now that I've got a chance, it took me about 2 hours too, so that's not too bad. I ended up doing an entire side prior to sanding. I did it like first couple and I tried to sand, but I don't know if I was doing it a bit quicker than what Dick thought that I was going to do or whatever. It's also like about maybe like 10 degrees in my shop, so the colder it is, the longer it takes for a filler to dry, or a paint to dry. So now that I've gotten a chance to do those three things, I have a better idea of why those three steps. So the bristle, the short bristle brush, really with the texture of the canvas, really allows you to really get that paint in it. You feel it like when you're brushing it across. It's hard to get the paint onto the filler onto the canvas because the brush holds less paint, so you're transferring from the can to the canvas a lot more. But so that's the first step. And then I was wondering why take the time to make a mitt out of the canvas. When you're massaging it into the after you put it on the brush, you massage it with the mitt. The mitt really smooths everything over, so it makes sure that you don't have any beads of paint lying around. It also pushes it even more into the canvas. You feel it when you're using it with your hand, like you really feel the paint underneath. So it does get you to have a better feel for the finish. So that smooths everything off, and it makes sure that you don't have any, that it really evens it out, because if you have more paint on one side or more paint in one section, that mitt, by moving it across back and forth, you're really getting that finish nice and smooth and even. So the third thing, that the real key to this, and not everyone uses this. Actually, Dick Pearson's the only one that actually suggested to use the quarter sander, and it looks like it is the definite key to a beautiful glossy finish, because the other people were using their hands. One guy was saying, you just use your hand and then your skin eventually grows back, he says. So with the quarter sander, I was able to do it quite quickly, and just by doing a couple passes, you really gotta check the light. You have to have good lighting. On this side, I don't have a very good light, but I did my best. But on this side, I got a lot of reflection from the halogen light, so I was able to really see the texture. Before you put the sander on, you see the very porous texture of the canvas. And I actually try to take a close-up of before and after. I'm not sure if it's going to come out. I can't really see on the screen until I really look on the computer. But anyway, so if that works out, great. But as soon as you pass it over with the leather, it just makes it super glossy. So because of the texture of it's very undulated because of the boards underneath. I don't get everything, I don't get everywhere, but if on the majority of the surface, it's nice and smooth. So, like I said, it took me about two hours to get that first coat, and I still have, if I look at, I got a little bit less than half the gallon left, so that's perfect. The first coat is always heavier than the second coat, so I'm going to put another second coat on, just to make sure that you have every single area, because you can't forget that this is what's keeping your boat afloat. Like this, the filler's what's keeping the water out. So you really got to get all the canvas. I got to put. Oh, the other thing is too, I didn't think I was going to be able to put the leather, the sanding, on the end. And let me take a second here to take you guys down. It really cleaned up. Let me see on the side here. Don't mind the toys. It really cleaned up and smoothed out the edge. So I cleaned it up. I put more staples. That really put everything down. But when I passed over that with the sander, it really just smoothed and almost like burnished the edge. So I didn't think I was going to be able to put the sander on the end, but I did. So that worked out too. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop here. Like I said, I'm just going to do the second coat. It's the exact same process. And then once that's done, I'm going to have to leave it to cure for the next 6 weeks at least. So I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to know that it's cured. I'm assuming it'll just feel really, really hard and dry. But I'll leave it at least 6 weeks. So that means there's no more canoe. There's not going to be any canoe videos for the next 6 weeks. As a final remark, on a whim, I just finished the second coat. And it was drying a little bit slower even than the first one, because I guess it was there was more filler on it, and so the leather was kind of sticking to it, and it wasn't doing as smooth of a job as the first time. So I decided to try my hand out, and it kind of makes sense, but the hand actually, your hand actually does a better job than even the leather. The leather's this square piece of flat surface, and the canoe, at least mine, is anything but flat. So the hand, when you're rubbing your hand across it, it automatically touches all the surfaces. It molds itself to that surface, and it touches everything at once. So when you swipe your hand across it, it's really weird, but it smooths out that finish nicely. And when you think about it, your hand is actually a piece of leather too, so it makes sense. So here, I'll just give you guys a quick, again, not knowing whether or not how much this comes out, but you see a nice shine, hopefully, if you get the same angles I am. So a nice even white eggshell finish. With the ends nicely done. Nice and smooth. So alright, like I said, we gotta wait till this cures completely. Hopefully it gets nice hard as a rock, and any other imperfections that are still on the finish, we'll be able to sand it off. So the next steps, once this is all sanded, cured and sanded, then we'll be moving on to the paint. I'll go shopping for some marine quality paint. See what colors we got, and that'll decide the design. I'll have other content though. Have a couple of knife videos coming up, some sheath for that knife and stuff like that. So there'll be more content for you guys. So conclusion too is I was really intimidated by this step. It's another one of those things that you just have to do it, and it seems a lot harder than it is. It basically boiled down to just painting the canvas. It wasn't anything too complicated. You put it on a smooth coat of paint like anything else, and yeah. I mean, we won't know if we did a good job until we actually get this thing in the water. But still, it seems I'm quite confident that it went on properly. So yeah. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it'll help anyone out, someone out that is trying to do this step themselves. So see if there's anything else I can think of there. I'm missing something. I think not. See you guys.